When we reflect back on 2021, there are a number of themes and highlights that I'm sure we'll all reflect back on fondly. It truly was a year unlike any other. There was so many different flashpoints. There was macroeconomic narratives that continued to flow in the background. There were, of course, a range of different sectors that really stood up and had their time in the sun this year. But I thought it would be time for us to have a bit of a think about some of the top performers on the ASX in 2021. And after this, I thought we'd discuss a highlight of what I personally think was the sector of the year in 2021. There was a lot for us to unpack. There were a lot of companies that really stood up, and maybe it was the first time having their time in the sun and really shining. Or for others, they had a resumption and they were able to get back there after a long time. These were some of the top performers on some of the benchmark indexes, the 200 and then a couple from the 300. And I'm keen to know your thoughts on it all too. Firstly, if you do enjoy this video, don't forget to hit the like button. Feel free to share it out. Big thank you to everyone who's joined us. If you're new here, welcome. Make sure you've subscribed and turn your bell notifications on. We make daily videos and you'll be updated every time we drop them out. You can see here, there's a pretty large list of companies and some of them have had absolutely magnificent years. Top of the list, Novonix, ASX MVX, really pioneering their battery technology solutions and becoming a real key component within that North American and broader American EV battery supply chain. Of course, they're about to bring online their pure graphite anode battery materials business as well. There's been a significant amount of excitement surrounding the ASX NVX story, with their market cap now topping the $4 billion market cap, and it was much higher at their peaks. Sayona was one of the true e-commerce online beneficiaries. Of course, in our other video, which we'll link after this one, surrounding some of the companies that struggled throughout 2021, we talked about Kogan, we talked about Redbubble. Those companies had some headwinds after some breakout 2020s, but Sayona actually went the other way. They continued moving higher and higher, up by over 600% in terms of their share price, and it was an outstanding year. And as we look a little further down, we can see Liontown, Vulcan Energy, Pilbara. You might notice a bit of a theme for some of these companies. These lithium companies truly came to the fore. After what was an outstanding year, not only for lithium, but truly in EV adoption around the world. We know that Europe and China have really led the line in terms of EV adoption. There's been significant adoption there, but other countries are really starting to pick this up. COP26 was another opportunity to really push this clean energy transition, and it looks like the world is starting to wake up. And of course, companies in that EV battery supply chain are going to stand to be beneficiaries of that if they can bring their projects online. Imugene has become one of Australia's largest biotech companies. They truly were a standout company this year. They led the line into the ASX 200. The share price was up above the $3 billion market cap at its peaks, and it's been a fascinating journey to watch. And you look at some of these other names from AEF, Australian Ethical Investments, Unity Group, Life 360, a diversity of sectors from telcos to tech to, of course, funds management. But each of these have had standout years, doubling their share price or more than doubling throughout that past period. And then how can we forget Chalice Mining, a true bonanza of a find, one of the greatest finds that you'll really see not only in Australia but around the world over the past couple of decades. It was a breakout year for Chalice after what was already a fantastic 2020. So you can see here there was a broad range of companies across a different range of sectors. After this, we'll talk about what I personally thought was the sector of the year, but I'm keen to know your thoughts firstly. So drop in a comment below. What was your standout ASX companies over the past year? And where do you think, or which companies do you think will be standouts or that are positioned well for the year up ahead into 2022? And so, for the sector of the year, I think it really surrounds the clean energy transition. Of course, there are many components to that. From the lithium sectors that were the real flagship leaders here. But the broader EV battery materials base really were beneficiaries. There were many companies that fed into this potential decarbonisation theme. You can have a look at the 1 yearly growth for many of these companies. It truly was unparalleled, and it's unlike anything that we're likely to see ahead for such a broad cohort growth, really across the rest of the sector. You see Lake Resources, Sayona Mining, both on the lithium sector, early stage developers up by over 1,000%, both interestingly in the American supply chains, with Lake Resources, of course, in the lithium triangle, and Sayona Mining developing their Quebec hub. Province Resources riding the wave of the focus on green hydrogen. Twiggy Forrest was a real pioneer for that, talking about significant investment for FMG. They're developing their Fortescue Future Industries, and there was a real significant increase in the green hydrogen space as a result of that. Renascor Resources, of course, one of, but not the only graphite company that really soared throughout the past year. And then Arizona Lithium and AVZ Minerals were true beneficiaries as well. It's a fascinating sector. Who knows who will take that sector leadership into 2022? Of course, we saw during 2020, buy now, pay later, e-commerce, digital companies that were able to offer digital technology solutions as we stayed at home and we were locked down were real beneficiaries. 2021 was the year of the clean energy EV transition. What do you think will be up ahead for the year in 2022? And so I guess that brings us back to the core question. What does 2022 have in store for us? Firstly, if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. Feel free to share it out. We make daily videos every day, so make sure you've subscribed and turn your bell notifications on. And most importantly, I hope you have an amazing new year as we head into what is shaping up to be another exciting chapter up ahead. I think first and foremost, we know that the past period there's been an abundance of fiscal stimulus and monetary policy has remained ultra loose and accommodative, but this is being removed. So the economy will be standing much more on its own 2 feet. Society is reopening up with pent-up demand, but there is that high household savings rate. And we do know that supply chain bottlenecks have really been that core driver of inflation across a range of different sectors over this past period. But as mobility restrictions ease and borders start to open up further, we're hoping that this should providing an easing in terms of inflation, which ultimately should open up in terms of optionality for the Federal Reserve and other central banks, because there's been a bit of pressure to speed up the taper and potential rate hikes into 2022 because of these inflationary pressures. But if they fade, that will provide these central banks with a bit more optionality. What I think is going to be most fascinating is to see what trends are embedded versus transitory. How high will e-commerce penetration remain in 2022 as we open back up? What are those trends surrounding the clean energy transition? Were they a flash in the pan, or is this here to stay? We all remember 2018 in terms of the lithium boom, but is this going to be more embedded as EV adoption truly looks like it is here to stay now? There's a lot of questions and there's only one way to get answers as we look forward to the year up ahead. We'll be making daily videos each and every day. We're looking forward to having you join us as we grow together as a community. Hope you've had a great festive season. Happy New Year to you all. Look forward to catching you all soon and I hope you enjoyed this video. For now, stay well and happy investing.